right, welcome to the Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. We are at the California run of our May 2nd games. Next three games will be on the left coast, two in California and one in Seattle. This is the first of those three. It is the Boston Red Sox against the California Angels. And Boston enters this game 7-16. California enters 10-14. One note that I saw as I was looking at the stats, the replay stats, Boston is 7-8 on the road and 0-8 at home. So very unusual. They have not won a home game, but they are almost 500 on the road. So don't know why that is, just the way it works out. Starting pitchers, Mike Witt for California, Bob Stanley for the Red Sox. This is game number 159 of the season on May 2nd. Home runs are 1-12 for lefties and righties, and singles 1-5 lefties and righties here at Anaheim Stadium. Pitcher catcher hold. Both pitchers do well holding the runners. Mike Witt's going to be a -4, and Stanley's going to be a -2. So not that, there's a few guys that run on California, but not many that run on Boston. So don't know if that's going to come as a big effect or not. Wild pitch, Witt's a 5, balk's a 0. Wild pitch, 4 for Stanley, and balk a 0 for Stanley. Pass ball for Miller is a 6. Pass ball for Schaefer is a 5. Look at the starting lineups. Mark Ryle is in right field. For this one, Devon White moves from right field to center, and Gary Pettis is getting the night off. Everything else pretty much is standard fare, it looks like, for most of these lineups. Hello, Triple G and Dav. Welcome to the Hotel California game, as we are about ready to get going here between the Red Sox and the Angels. Neither pitcher is stellar in the replay, that is for sure. Mike Witt will get his numbers on the replay, his complete numbers. They aren't good. 1-2, ERA of 6.03. In 5 starts, he's gone 31 in the third innings, given up 31 hits, 12 walks, 29 strikeouts. So Witt looking to improve here against the Red Sox. Hello, Thomas. Good to see you. Let's get to the Boston statistics so we can bring them up as each batter comes up to bat. Mike Witt finishing up the warm-up tosses, and Wade Boggs will be leading things off. They got the 4 Bs right in the top of the order: Boggs, Barrett, Buckner, and Baylor. With Rice on the injured list, they have moved Baylor in the cleanup spot. All right, so Wade Boggs is up. He's hitting on the replay. He's 32 of 97, which is a .330 average. 5 home runs and 10 runs batted in. So nice start to the season so far for Boggs. See if he keeps it going against Witt. It's a 3-4, and it's a split chance. 1-17 is a single. That's a 14. It will be a base hit for Wade Boggs. What's new? So Boggs will single. He will not be held. And that'll bring up Marty Barrett. Barrett on the replay is actually leading the Red Sox and hitting at .375, but he's only 15 out of 40. He was injured for a while. No homers, 2 driven in. So Barrett facing Witt. That's a 3-10, and that's a split chance again. 1-7 is a single, but that's a 16. So he will line it to Schofield at short, 1 away. 1 down, and well, I can't write a 6 tonight, can I? That is a 6, even though I know it doesn't look like it, but it is a 6. You know what? Let me fix that. I don't like the way that 6 looks. I don't know where that came from. Let's see about making something a little bit more discernible. Maybe that's better right there. All right, so he lines it to short, and that brings up Billy Buck. Buckner is hitting .275. He's 25 out of 91. No homers, 11 driven in. Nothing on the havoc. Witt to Buckner, 3-11. That's a ballpark single check, 1-5, but that's a 14, so he will line it right to second base for out number 2. So Buckner is retired, brings up the DH Don Baylor. Baylor on the replay is hitting .265, 22 out of 83, 4 homers and 15 runs driven in. And in case you're curious, he's been hit by a pitch 8 times so far. 111, and that is a ground ball to second. That's going to end the inning. It was called a 4-6 fielder's choice as they go the short way for the force. And nothing happening there for the Red Sox. The leadoff single from Boggs, but they get nothing else and like it. We go to the bottom of the first. California nothing, and Boston coming to bat. And Bob Stanley, the right-hander, loosening for the Red Sox as he gets ready to take the mound. He is not doing so well in the replay. He is 0-2 with a 7.56 earned run average in 5 starts, 25 innings pitched, 37 hits, 6 walks, and 15 strikeouts. So Stanley will try to do what he can do to keep his team in the game and not let California get up to a big lead. Hello, Chuck. Good to see you. So leading off for the Angels is Brian Downing, the designated hitter. And Downing is leading the team in hitting at .344. He's 33 of 96, 7 home runs, 22 runs batted in. He's got the triple crown for the Angels. He leads them in home runs, or at least he's tied for the lead with Joyner at 7. He leads them in RBIs at 22, and he leads them at batting average at .344. So he's got right now the California Angel triple crown on the team. 210, and that's a split chance, but only a 1's a single. Anything else he lines it too short. So he's going to line it right to Hoffman for 1 away. So Downing is retired. It brings up Devon White playing center field in this one. Usually plays right field, but like I said, they're giving Pettis the night off, so White will be in there in center. He's hitting just .228, 23 out of 101, which is a .228 average. 1 homer, 7 driven in. 6-8, switch hitter batting left. 6-8 is a single to left field. So Devon White. And he'll be looking to get the lead. One of the few the Angels that will. 3 through 6, he gets the lead. And he does, but it's a 2. So that means it's a possible balk. Possible balk, I do believe. Let me double check the rules so I can show you all what that means on the when you try to get the steal or try to get the lead and a 2 shows up. If you try to get the lead and a 1 shows up, means he might be picked off. If a 2 shows up, we're checking for a balk on the pitcher. But Stanley's balk rating is a 0. So now let's see something here. Let me see if that means he can't get the lead. I don't want to assume anything here. It says the runners have failed to achieve a good lead. So he could have had the lead, but we checked for a balk on Stanley, and that says he cannot get the good lead. So White will not be able to get that lead, try for the steal. So he will stay at first base. And here's Wally Zorbine Jr. He's hitting .319, 7 homers, 18 driven in. Stanley to Joyner, 210. And that's a ballpark blast, 1-12. That's a 10. It's gone. Wally Joyner has just taken over the Angel lead in home runs. That's his 8th home run of the season. Look at it again, 210. That big diamond shot is sitting right here. 1-12. That's a 10. It's gone. So Wally Joyner, a 2-run home run, his 8th of the season. That gives him the team lead now, takes the Triple Crown away temporarily, at least, from Brian Downing. 8th home run, RBIs number 19 and 20. And just like that, the Angels take a 2-0 lead on Bob Stanley and the Red Sox. I'll bring up Doug DeSensei. He's hitting .227, 17 of 75. 4 homers, 8 driven in. 4-8 is the right-hander. 1-9 is a double. 10-20 is a single. That's an 8. DeSensei will smack a double. And Bob Stanley certainly is not boding too well right now for himself. Not off to a good start like he wanted. Here's Mark Ryle. And Ryle, in very limited duty, is hitting 100. He's 1 for 10. So he's getting the first start. I think this is his first start of the season right here. It's 1 for 10. No runs, no home runs, no RBI. So here's Ryle. 1-6, and he's going to ground it to first. That will send to Sensei to third as Buckner takes the bag himself. 2 outs and a runner at third for Jack Howell. Clutch situation for Howell. He loses a hit on a 2-7 in the clutch. That's the anti-clutch result. Howell on the replay. Hello, alternate. Good to see you. Hello, Tim. Let's see. Howell on the replay right now is hitting 282, 22 homers, 78. I'm sorry, 22 hits, 78 at bats, and 2 homers, 9 driven in. So Stanley trying to get out of it with just the 2 runs if he can help it. That's a 5-11. Ground ball first base X. We're looking at Buckner. He's a 4. This could be trouble. 4-2. That's definitely not what Stanley needed. A 4 and a 2 is probably an SI2 without looking. That's probably what I'm guessing, but we'll verify. Trust but verify. 4 and a 13. I'm sorry, 4 and a 2 is an SI2, so that's going to score the run. The Sensei will come in. He was already at third anyway, so it didn't matter. So base hit for Howell. Now we'll check for an error. He's an E13, so he's got to avoid 11, 13, and 17. That's a 13, so he's going to add insult to injury. It's a single plus an error on Buckner. Buckner's an E13, and there's a 13 sitting right here. So single plus the E3 on Buckner. And the Red Sox find themselves behind 3-0. Here comes Dickie Schofield with the runner in scoring position. Schofield is hitting .195. He's really struggling. 17 out of 87. No homers, 8 driven in. 4-10, right-handed. That's an in-home run chance, 1-12. That's a 1. He's got normal power. It is gone. Dick Schofield, a 2-run homer. Look at it again. 4-10 is a 1-12 home run. He has the normal power, and that's a 1. So Dick Schofield will go deep. And for Schofield, that is his first home run of the season. RBIs 9 and 10. And the Angels take a 5-0 lead here in the first inning. Schofield has 9 home runs on the real world season, so that's his first one. And Bob Stanley thinking he's at the Hotel California now because he's trying to check out, but he can't leave. And that'll bring up Mark McLemore, hitting .221, 17 of 77, 2 homers, 13 driven in. 3-9, and that's a ground ball to short, and the inning is finally over. But 5 runs for the Angels, and they grab a convincing 5-0 lead after 1. And you wonder how long Bob Stanley will hang around. So coming up for the Red Sox, it'll be Evans, Greenwell, and Hoffman, as Mike Witt has been given a 5-0 lead to protect. So for the Red Sox, Dewey Evans, he is hitting .333, 29 of 87, 5 homers, 19 driven in. It's a 4-7 against Witt. Ground ball second base X. McLemore is a 2E22. 2-11, he'll get to it. E22. E22 and a 13. E22, there's a 12, but there's no 13, so it's a good play for McLemore as he throws out Evans for 1 away. That'll bring up Greenwell. Greenwell just 9 of 27. He's hitting .333, 9 out of 27. But 4 of those 9 hits are home runs. 6-5, lefty, fly ball to left. Not enough juice on that one as Howell puts it away. 2 up and 2 down. That brings up Glenn Hoffman, the shortstop. He's hitting .214, which is 9 out of 42. No homers, 4 driven in. 3-7, and he's going to strike out to end the inning. So 1-2-3 inning for Mike Witt. And boy, it didn't seem like Stanley had much chance to get a breather. He's right back out there. And okay. Well, we thought I was going to have a visitor. And we do have a visitor. Tabby making a cameo, just enough to be irritating, and now she wants to go right back out the door. So I don't know why she wanted to come in the first place. I guess she just wanted to see what I was up to. I don't know. Maybe she's coming in to encourage Bob Stanley. I don't know. All right, so Stanley going to come back out, and he'll be facing Miller, the number 9 hitter. All right, so Miller on the replay. Let's get his numbers. Miller on the replay is hitting .212, 7 out of 33. No homers, 3 driven in. It's .210, and it's a ground ball back to Stanley, 1 away. And that'll bring up Brian Downing. 4-3. Ground ball pitcher X. Stanley's an E10. He's an E10. And let's see if he's a 2 or a 3 here. Look at the computer for that to confirm. He is a 2 E10. Okay. So a 2 E10 for Stanley. 2 and an 18, he'll get to it. E10, he's got to avoid that. E10, and that is a 15. That's interesting. It's a big number. E10 and a 15. And there's a 15 right here on the E10. It's a 1 base error on Stanley. And when it rains, it pours. E1. Downing's aboard. Brings up Devon Witt. 6-3. Switch hitter batting left is a fly ball left field X. That's Greenwell. He's a 4 E10. 4 and an 8. See if he can get to that. A 4 and an 8. Oops, that's the infield. We need the outfield. 4 and an 8 for an outfielder. 4 and an 8 is a single 2 stars. So he can't get to it. That will move Downing to third. And we'll check for the error on the E10. He has to avoid 3, 4, and then 14 through 18. 3, 4, and 14 through 18. And he does avoid the error, but it is going to be a base hit. It's going to put runners at first and third with only 1 out. Witt needs a 3 through 6 to get the lead. Whoop, we got Suadice. Let's re-roll that. That didn't go through. Boy, he's just really messing up with the dice here. Try this again for the 3rd time's a charm. 9, he does not get the lead, so don't worry about it. But he is being held. Here's Wally Joyner, had the 2-run homer his first time up. 6-8, and that's a single to left field. And this might be the beginning of the end for Bob Stanley. The single went to left, so White's going to hold up at second base. It is now 6-0. Here's the sensei. Bullpen activity for the Red Sox. What to figure out who it is. But Stanley's going to need some relief here very shortly. 2-8 to strikeout, so he gets a break there. They're going to try to get him through the inning, if at all possible. Mark Ryle is your batter. It's a 2-6 for Ryle. Ground ball to second, and he does get through the inning, but another run comes in for California. It's unearned, but it still counts all the same. And at the end of 2, it's 6-0 California. And Bob Stanley might be ready to check out, even though he can never leave from the Hotel California. Hello, Ernest and Robert. Good to see you. You just missed Tabby. She made a quick cameo and then ducked out of here. So Danny Schaefer will lead it off for the Red Sox. And on the replay for the Red Sox, Schaefer is hitting .121, 4 out of 33. No homers and 1 run driven in. That's a 4-6, and he's going to strike out. Brings up Ellis Burks. Burks on the replay, limited duty. 1 of 7. He's at a $143. No homers or runs driven in. 2-9, and that's a 1 for a triple. Anything else is a double, so we do have a double for Ellis Burks. 1 out double for Burks. That brings up Wade Boggs. First serious chance the Red Sox have had to get on the board. 4-6, left-handed, struck him out. Boggs out on strikes. Brings up Marty Barrett in a clutch situation. And Barrett is anti-clutch on a 112 and a 3-5 and a 3-8 and a 2-8. So he's anti-clutch all over the place. That's a 5-4. Ground ball third base access to Sensei. He's a 3 E23. 3 and 18, he'll get to it. E23. And a 13. Those 13s come up all the time, it seems like. Don't know if that's an error chance on an E23 or not for a third baseman. It certainly is. They're sitting right there. Boy, these 13 seem to be errors quite a bit. E23 and the 13 is a one-base error. So E5, and the inning will continue. Burks gets third base on the E5. Now here's Buckner in a clutch situation. Buckner in reversal gains some hits. He gets a hit on 3-5 and on 112. So he is a little bit on the clutch side, except when he's fielding. 111, and that's ground ball to third. That's going to end the inning as they go the short way to second for the 5-4 fielder's choice. And they leave 2 on base. That's our best chance to score, and they couldn't come through. We go to the bottom of the third. It's 6-0 California. Stanley's going to stay out there and take some punishment, try to eat some innings. Best we can do with him. Let's look at the bullpen for Boston, see who's the most rested. They've all been overworked, actually, because of, Crawford's been 11 games, Sambito 10, Giraldi 10. So the one that's got the most rest, from what I can see, the one that has the most rest is Rob Woodward. He's only been in 5 games. He starts later in the season, but right now is in relief. So Rob Woodward is loosening in the bullpen for Boston. But they're going to see if Stanley can maybe eke out one more inning. Kind of hard to say, but they might. Hello, Jeremiah. That's a 4-5. Left-handed is a ground ball to second. So Barrett will make the play, 1 away. For Dickie Schofield. 3-10 for Schofield. And that's a split chance. 1 to 14 is a single. That will be a base hit for Schofield. He's 2 for 2. And to get the lead, needs a 4 or a 5 to get the lead. Does not get the lead. So that brings up McLemore. 6-5, switch hitter batting left is a fly to center. 2 down, and that sends us to Darryl Miller. Maybe, perhaps Stanley can get through 3 innings here. We'll see. Miller, 5-7, and that is a ground ball shortstop X. And that is Hoffman. He's a 3 E12. 3 and 10, he'll get to it. It's the E12. E12 and a 10, that should be good all day long. There's not many errors on 10s. And there's not here either. So a 3 and a 10 is actually a G2. So it's going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice to end the inning. We finally got a 0 on the board for California. At the end of 3, it's Angels 6 and Red Sox nothing. So maybe Stanley can give him a 4th inning. We shall see. All right, Witt steps to plate facing Don Baylor. And for everybody that came in late, I was given a statistic on the replay for Boston, which was kind of interesting. They are 7-16. They are 7-8 on the road and 0-8 at home. So kind of strange how that just worked out. But looks like they'll be 7-9 after this game, unless something really big happens. 4-8. Well, 1-6 is a double. That's a good start. As Don Baylor cracks a double, brings up Dewey Evans. 2-8 for Evans, struck him out. 1 down for Greenwell. Flew to left his first chance. A 1. Chance of a wild pitch on Witt. He's a 5. No wild pitch. So Witt will keep from throwing the wild pitch as Miller blocked it. There's Greenwell. That's a leaner. So I'm going to go ahead and call it 6-9. It was close enough. It was going to fall to 3 anyway. 6-9 is a single to center field. Baylor runs at a 12, but Devon White in the center has got a -3 arm, and you're down 6-0. So I think we're going to hold him at third. Runners at the corners, 1 out rather. And Hoffman is your batter. Greenwell not going to be held. Hoffman struck out his first chance. 1-7. He's going to strike out again. 2 down. It's up to Schaefer to get it done. Schaefer, a strikeout victim his first time up. 1-12. He's going to ground it to second, and that's going to end the inning. So they cannot score the run. Perhaps maybe should have taken a gamble on Baylor trying to get through there, but you had to figure somebody was going to get a hit or at least get a ground ball to advance him or something. And with 1 out, the infield was playing for a double play. You could have possibly got a ground ball out for an RBI, but they couldn't even do that. So here's Brian Downing leading off the bottom of the 4th. 3-10, and that is a ground ball to short. Hoffman will make the play. 1 down for Devon White. 2-6, and he's going to ground it to second. So 2 ground balls. If Stanley can stay off his own card and keep going off the batter card, he might have a chance. Here's Joyner. He's homered and singled. 5-10, struck him out. And that's going to end, unless he's considered tired. Now, I don't know. I don't see how he can be tired already. He hasn't reached his fatigue inning. I don't buy the 6-run thing being tired, because he pitched a 0 inning that inning. So I'm calling him. I'm not calling him tired. I'm going to keep that strikeout as a good strikeout. That's going to end the inning. We go to the 5th. It is still 6-0. Burks is your batter. He doubled his first time up. 4-4, and it's catcher X. So that is Miller. He's a 4E13, but nobody's on base. So no worries of a pass ball or anything. 4 and a 16, probably some sort of a pop out or a ground out. 4-16 is actually a P/F, so that would be a foul out. As long as there's no error, he's an E13. Always got a lot of guys to avoid right here. 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. And that's a 6. It'll be an error. So it'll be an error on a P/F, which should be a foul ball error. So E1, catcher drops a foul, pop-up, play resumes. So it's just a E2 on the pop-out. So it's an E2. We'll note here it's an E2. Well, I'll do it after the at-bat. So Burks gets a reprieve, as Miller couldn't handle it. 2-10, and that's going to be a 1 for a double. Anything else he flies to left, so it is a fly to left. But before that, it was an E2 on a foul out. So E2, and that way when I go back to score it later, I can make sure that error goes in there. So 1 away, and here is Wade Boggs. Boggs 1 for 2. 111, and that's a single for Wade Boggs. Back to his old tricks. Boggs is on. Here's Marty Barrett. 1, chance for a wild pitch. Again, it is a 5. And again, blocked by Miller. So no wild pitch. 4-6, and that's going to be a strikeout. Barrett is out of there. Brings up Billy Buck. 2, chance for a balk or a pass ball. We're checking balk, but he has a 0 balk rating. 4-6, and that's another strikeout. That's going to end the inning. 5 shutout innings for Mike Witt. Looking to even his record at 2-2. He's off to a good start to do that. And Stanley's going to come out again and pitch the 5th. Probably his last inning regardless. And they're going to probably turn it over to Woodward after this. Here's the sensei. 1-8, and he's going to ground it to short. 1 away. Here's Mark Ryle. He's 0 for 2. 4-3 is a ballpark single check, 1-5, but that's a 6. We're going to line it to second. Out number 2. And that'll send up Jack Howell. 6-2, ground ball first base C. It's going to be a 3-1 put out, and that's going to do it. So Stanley does recover and has pitched 3 scoreless innings since. Trying to keep his team in the game, but his team can't do anything against Mike Witt. We go to the top of the 6th. Still 6-0. Baylor 5-5, and that's a strikeout again. And for Witt, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's his 8th strikeout. Strikeout number 8 for Witt. Here in the 6th inning, that's his 8th strikeout. Here's Evans, 5-6 again is another strikeout. That's his strikeout number 9 for Witt. And that brings up Greenwell. 6-4, ground ball third base X to Sensei is a 3 E23. 3-15, he'll get to it. E23. And that's a 10, so that's a good play. Hardly ever an error on a 10 on an infielder. Very rare do you see a 10 as an error. You have to be really bad to have a 10 as an error. He's an E23. 11-13, yep, but not a 10. So it's 3 up and 3 down, go the Sox. And I think, yep, this is fatigue inning for Stanley. Going to be facing Schofield. Stanley, however, has retired the last 8 in a row that he has faced. 3-6, and let's make it 9 in a row. So he gets him to ground to short. 1 down, so he's going out with a blaze of glory. There's McLemore. 5-6, that's a walk. That's not going to help the cause. McLemore needs a 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. Does not get the lead. He will hold. And here's Miller. Stanley to Miller, 4-7. Ground ball second base X. Second baseman is responsible for holding the runners, so that means Barrett will turn to a 3E11, not a 2E11, because he was responsible for holding McLemore. 3-14 probably won't make a difference, though. 2-14 would be a G1. 3-14 is a G2, so it means it takes away the double play chance. Best he could do is a force play. He's an E11. Got to avoid 15, 17, and 18, which he does. But instead of a double play, it's only going to be a 4-6 fielder's choice because he was holding the runner. He loses some of that range. So Miller is aboard with 2 outs for Brian Downing. Stanley trying to get through 6 and then turn it over to Woodward. 1-8 for Downing, struck him out. So Bob Stanley finishes with a flurry. After having a horrendous first inning, he actually pitched pretty well for the last 5. But we're going to cap Stanley there, and Woodward's going to be the guy coming on to try to finish the game out for the Red Sox and save their bullpen from any further fatigue. So Stanley is going to go 6 innings. And he's going to give up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got him for 8 hits. 6 runs, 5 of them were earned because the run in the second was unearned. Walks, he walked just the one that I see. That's McLemore's only walk. And he struck out 3. But it would fall to 0-3 unless there's a major rally by the Red Sox. All right, we're starting the 7th inning, and that is Mike Witt's fatigue inning. So we'll keep an eye on that. 3-10 for Hoffman as a ground ball to short. Schofield is there, 1 away. And that will send up Danny Schaefer. 4-5 for Schaefer against Witt is a strikeout. That's number 10 for Mike Witt. 10 strikeouts. And he's still going strong. Full endurance. Pitching a shutout with 10 strikeouts. Burks, 6-6. That's another strikeout dot there, but he's not tired. So he pitches 7 shutout innings, and he will continue to pitch further, obviously, with a 6-0 lead. Kind of would be foolish to take him out, that's for sure. All right, so we'll get the numbers on Woodward since he is going to be the new Boston pitcher. Woodward on the replay is 0-0 with an ERA of an even 8. He's pitched 5 games so far, 9 innings pitched, 12 hits, 5 walks and 9 strikeouts. Of course, giving up 8 earned runs in the 9 innings, thus the 8.00 earned run average. So he's nothing to write home about, but they just want him to pitch these 2 innings and save, the bullpen for the rest of the series, as they have been overworked recently. So they would definitely like to not have to go through that. But we are at the 7th inning stretch here at the Hotel California. So you want to take a stretch break and stand up and sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." All right, 7th inning stretch is in the books. We're ready to go. Woodward, see if he can hold the fort and not let it get any worse. Pitching to White, 5-7 switch hitter, ground ball second base X. That is Barrett. He's a 2. 2 and a 13. He'll get to it. E11. Ooh, 15. That could be trouble. E11 and a 15 as second baseman. There's a 15 sitting right there. Yet another error on the Red Sox. Marty Barrett's an E11, 15, and there's your 15. So E4. And let's see, that is going to be the 3rd error on the Red Sox. Angels have 2 errors themselves, so 5th error of the game. And Devon White, despite it being 6-0, he's still going to try to rub it in and run. So a 3 through 6 gets him the lead. 7 does not get the lead. Woodward is a -5, so it'd be a -4 overall for hold. That brings up Joyner. 3-8 for Joyner, and that's a walk. Not starting off very good here for Woodward. 1st and 2nd, nobody out for the Sensei. Yeah, John, that would be kind of neat. Might get a copyright strike on that though, because That ukulele belongs to Mr. Tower. That's for sure. All right, 2-8, and that is a strikeout. So he does get the strikeout on the Sensei. Here's Mark Ryle. He's 0 for 3. 3-5. He has a solid double to left field for Mark Ryle. Double to left field. That will score Witt. Joyner not being held is a 12. Left fielder Greenwell's a 0, but with only one out, I think they're going to go ahead and hold Joyner at second base or at third base. So it's second and third with one out and one is in. It's 7-0 Angels. And Jack Howell is your batter. Infield is now in against Jack Howell. Woodward to Howell. 1-4. Ground ball pitcher A. That's going to freeze everybody. And there's 2 away. Brings up Schofield. Chance to get out of the inning with no further damage. If he can get Schofield. 6-6, and that's a walk. It's going to load the bases. That will pass the buck on over to McLemore. Bases loaded for McLemore. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. 3-5, and that's a split chance. 1-8's a single. That's a 5. It's a base hit. 1 star, so it's only 1 base advancement. But now both of these runs are unearned. But they still count all the same. It's now 8-0. And that'll bring up Darryl Miller. 8-0 Angels. Unfortunately, a laugher. 5-6 is another walk. That's going to load the bases again. And now the 9th man to bat in the inning, Brian Downing. Up with the bases loaded. 2 outs. 3-4, and he lines it to second. Barrett grabs it to end the inning, but 2 runs come in. They were unearned. And we go to the top of the 8th. And it's now California 8 and Boston 0. Witt has no marks against his fatigue, so he will keep going. And he'll be facing the top of the order, Boggs, Barrett, and Buckner. Should Ryle have scored on the double? No, it was a single 1 star. Oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. That walk was with the bases loaded, wasn't it? Sure was. Thank you for telling me that. I totally missed that. Not that Boston needed another run against them, but hey, that's the 3rd unearned run against them. Because it all started with that error. None of this would have happened without that error. The 3 outs would have come across already. So thank you for pointing that out. It's 9-0. Thank you, John, for that. 9-0 in favor of the Angels. Boggs, 5-6. It's a strikeout. And I believe that's now 11 strikeouts for Witt. Let me double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, is that 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 12. It's an even dozen. Even dozen. And of course, the 50-50 model has a little bit. This is one of the weaknesses of the 50-50 model is Wade Boggs has struck out twice already. He only struck out 48 times in 551 at bats, but the weakness of the 50-50 model is if it comes off the pitcher card, he's going to strike out. That's one thing I do give for inside pitch is Wade Boggs would not be striking out because his strikeout total would be so low that even if it was a strikeout on the pitcher card, he would get past that check with a low strikeout rate. But in Strat, that happens. But everything has its good points and its weaknesses. So here's Barrett, 6-6, and that's another strikeout for Witt. And Baker's dozen, 13 of them. He struck out the last 4 he has faced. So it's even Baker's dozen on the strikeouts. Here's Buckner, 6-3, fly ball right field X. That's Ryle. He's a 3 E15. 3 and a 13, he'll get to it. The E15 is a little questionable. E50, but it's an 11. He might get away with that. We shall see. E15. E15, there is no 11. There's a 12, but and a 14, but there's no 11, so he does get away with it. Ryle makes the catch, and 8 shutout innings for Mike Witt, and they're going to leave him in there to see if he can get the complete game. He still has full endurance, so no reason at all to take him out. He has the full endurance. Woodward's in there just to mop up and save anybody else from having to pitch, and it's going to be Devon White. Let's see, the Angels actually going to make some moves. They're going to bring in a pinch hitter and let some of these bench players get a chance. Rupert Jones will pinch hit for Devon White and take over in center field. So Rupert Jones. He's going to pinch hit in the 8th and play center field in the 9th. And despite rumors, Rupert Jones is not related to Barnaby Jones. All right, here's Rupert. Let me get his numbers. Get his numbers for you. On the replay, Rupert is hitting .222. He's 6 out of 27. 2 homers, 3 runs driven in. 6'9", that's a double to left field. So Rupert Jones getting in on the party. He's getting in on the hit parade. And that'll bring up Joyner. Do we want to let Joyner hit, or do we want to bring in somebody for Joyner? Let's see if Joyner might want to step aside for somebody else to do something, but I don't think anybody else can play first base unless I move him out of another position. Sensei can play third base, or first base, though. We'll go ahead and let Joyner hit. California wants to pile it on. Come on. 5-6, struck him out. So Joyner out on strikes. One away for the Sensei, but the Sensei I don't believe is going to hit. They're going to bring in Gus Polidor. Give him an at-bat. Gus Polidor. They're going to hop on the bus, Gus, because we don't need to discuss much. So Polidor will pinch hit here in the 8th and play third base in the 9th. Gene Mock emptying the bench in this 9-0 blowout. Polidor on the replay is 1 for 6. He's hitting a .167, so he definitely needs some at-bats. 4-8. And he's going to get a ballpark blast. 1-12, but that's a 16, but he had weak power anyway. So it will be a fly to left field. 2 down. Now, had we left the Sensei in there, it would have been a home run. Or a chance for a home run. Still wouldn't have got it because the ballpark didn't fit in, but it would have been a better chance for a home run. So here's Mark Ryle. 1-9 for Ryle. That's a ballpark blast. 1-12. That's an 11. It's gone. Mark Ryle. Look at that. 1-9 ballpark blast. That's a 12. That's an 11. Mark Ryle, his first home run of the season for Mark Ryle. A 2-run shot, and it's 11-0 Angels. Mark Ryle, a 2-run home run, making it 11-0. And now Jack Howell is your batter, and Woodward just looking to get out of here. 1-3, ground ball to short, and he finally will. Good part is they don't have to pitch the 9th inning. They can only pitch 8 innings, save some of the bullpen. So it is an 11-0 California lead. As we go to the top of the 9th, Woodward is history. He goes 2 innings, and he's going to give up 5 runs, only 2 of which were earned. He gave up 1 walk, 3 walks, struck out 2, and he gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So for California, they're going to end up with 11 runs on 12 hits. And Mike Witt coming out to finish the deal, finish what he started. And Don Baylor He did get riled up, Ernest. He most certainly did. Most certainly did. All right, so Witt to Baylor, and Witt has full endurance. 3-4, and that's a hit by pitch. That's the 9th hit by pitch for Don Baylor on the season. Been hit by pitch 9 times. I don't think with an 11-0 game it was intentional by any means. So here's Dewey Evans. .29. That's a strikeout, and that's 14 strikeouts now for Mike Witt. He's got to be getting close to my record for strikeouts in one game. 14 is an awful lot. Here's Greenwell. 3-6. That's a straight-up 2-run home run for Mike Greenwell. Breaks up the shutout. 3-6 is a solid 2-run home run. And maybe Witt's starting to run out of gas. 2-run shot for Greenwell. And for Greenwell on the replay, he continues with the power display. Greenwell, his 5th home run in RBIs 9 and 10, and he's only had just over 30 at bats, but he's got his 5th home run to make it an 11-2 game. And now Hoffman is your batter, unless they want to bring in somebody to pinch hit, which is certainly feasible. I think the Red Sox might want to go to the bench and maybe give somebody else a chance. Maybe somebody that hasn't hit in a while. I don't know. They're going to bring in Spike Owen. He's just coming off the injured list not that long ago, so they're going to ease him in with an easy pinch hitting job. So Spike Owen will pinch hit here in the 9th. Spike Owen. Owen on the replay is 6 out of 40 for a 150 average, 1 homer and 2 runs driven in. It's a 4-5, switch hitter batting left. Another strikeout. That's strikeout number 15 for Mike Witt. And we're down to our final at bat. It will not be Danny Schaefer. He will not hit. They will bring on somebody else to hit. Who needs the at-bats is the question. Who could use some good at-bats? Don't need Romero, I don't think. Henderson's already hit 83. Sullivan's terrible. Do we leave Schaefer? You know what? Schaefer actually needs a bat more than anybody else, so we're going to leave Schaefer in there. He's got fewer bats than anybody on the bench, so he needs an extra bat. So Witt to Schaefer. 3-9, and it's a pop out to first base, and that's going to do it as Joyner puts it away. 2 runs for the Red Sox in the 9th, and it's a complete game victory for Mike Witt. He's the winner. He improves to 2-2. Loser is Stanley. He now drops to 0-3. California now 11-14. Boston 7-17. So we'll get the numbers on Witt. Finish him off. Let's see how many hits he allowed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got him for 6 hits. And we'll check his walks. He hit a batter, but did not walk anyone. Struck out. We'll do a challenge. We'll double verify this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No walks and 15 strikeouts for Mike Witt. Incredible performance for Witt. Now the errors in the game. Boston committed 3 errors. And California committed 2 errors. Because one of the errors was that foul, E2 on the foul pop-up. So there's your line score. California 11 runs, 12 hits, and 2 errors. Boston 2 runs, 6 hits, and 3 errors. Winning pitcher Mike Witt 2-2. And Mike Witt, no walks, 15 strikeouts. Really incredible performance. Stanley takes the tough luck loss, gave up 5 runs in the first, but other than that, the remaining five innings, he pitched pretty well, actually. Of course, Woodward got raked in the 7th and 8th to not that it was any question who's going to win the game, just the way it turned out. So left on base, if we want to check those real quick, Boston 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got them for 6 left on. California left on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 left on. All right, so there you go. California with the victory improves to 11 and 14. And as we look forward to the next game on the replay, it'll be game number 160, and we'll be in Oakland. It'll be Frank Tanana and the Tigers against Matt Young and the Oakland A's, or I think it's Kurt Young, actually, not Matt Young, Kurt Young. So that'll be the next game in the American League replay, and that'll be tomorrow night at some point, or maybe tomorrow afternoon. Possibly tomorrow afternoon instead of tomorrow night. Might just make it tomorrow afternoon. Might be easier. Yes, I am, John. I'm playing every game in the American League. Absolutely. No simming. So 159 is in the books. We're almost at 160. The next game is 160. And I'm also playing every game in the Cincinnati Reds History Maker replay. So I've played, I think, about 25 games of that. That's every game, no simming as well. I don't have all games in this replay on video because I was playing just a game of the day for like the first week or so. But, about a week in, I started doing a video on every game. Just figured it's going to take longer, but who cares? I enjoy it. So, and since I got the webcam to replace the phone as my camera, makes it a whole lot easier to do more live streams and do things like that versus what I used to have with my phone. So that's another reason why I like doing that. All right, so tomorrow afternoon, most likely, we'll be back at the Hotel California in Oakland to see Detroit take on the first place Oakland A's, 16 and 8. Tanana against Kurt Young. That'll be game number 160 on the replay. And then Saturday night, it'll be the final game of the May 2nd block. It'll be the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Seattle Mariners from the Kingdome. And Milwaukee will have to win to hold serve with the Yankees, who already beat Minnesota in this particular May 2nd block already. So Tabby will probably be here for the Tigers. She's going to enjoy the Tigers, so she likes the Tigers. That's her team. So I'm sure she'll be there for that. Another programming note, 2 weeks from tomorrow, April the 12th, will be the opening day game of the NBC Game of the Week on Season Ticket Baseball 1978. Season Ticket Baseball. Every Saturday will be a game of the week, and I will have Digital Diamond sim the other games. But I will be picking one game for an NBC Game of the Week, and actually I'm picking the actual NBC Game of the Weeks as they were played. Utah Mike sent me a schedule of what the actual NBC Game of the Weeks were. They always had 2 games to choose from, so I have 2 games to choose from on each date. But every game I'm going to play was an actual NBC Game of the Week, and I'm going to try to pick the primary games that had Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek as best I can. But that will be in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from tomorrow, April the 12th. Season Ticket Baseball. I will probably do a video on Season Ticket before that, just to do a spring training game and get myself back in speed and get my setup down the way I want it, so that we can hit the ground running on April the 12th with Season Ticket Baseball. If you haven't seen Season Ticket Baseball before, there are a lot of good videos out there. Kurt Berglund, ID Jester, Dave Gardner, Replay Gamer, just to name a few, who have done, Kurt Berglund, if I didn't say him, have done demos on Season Ticket Baseball, going over the rules and whatnot. So if you're not familiar with that game and you want to kind of get up to speed on it, you can watch some of those to get ready for that. That's going to be the NBC Game of the Week, starting on April 12th, 2 weeks from tomorrow. So that's going to do it from here. Boston, with the defeat, drops to 7 and 17. And in case you came in little bit later in the stream, when I was looking at the stats for Boston before the game started, Boston was 7-16 before the game started. They were 7-8 on the road and 0-8 at home. So Boston has yet to win a game in Fenway Park. So when they get back home, it'll be curious to see if they can turn that around. Looking at what they've done in the on the replay, they are not doing so well against the Western Division. They are 0-3 against the Royals, 0-5 against Texas. I'm not sure why it says 5 there. I don't think they played 5 games. I think they played 4 games with Texas. I'm not sure why it's showing there. But anyway, Boston is not doing so well, obviously, as they fall to 7-16. We'll look at the league standings and see what this game does to the league stats. Boston will drop to 7-17, so they're now 10.5 games behind the Yankees. With the win, California improves to 11-14. They've pulled within 5.5 of Oakland, depending on what they do against the Tigers. So if Oakland loses to Detroit, then California will pull within 5 games of the Oakland A's. So that's going to do it from here on a Friday night at the Hotel California. Hope you enjoyed that presentation of Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced. And until next time, which hopefully for most of you will be tomorrow afternoon from Oakland. Till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.